everyone being here tonight and hear a little bit about capital sales tax project. And I'm not going to stand way back here with all the Baptists sitting back here on the back row. My name is Tim Harper. I'm the county administrator. Many of you I know in here have known for many years, being raised up in this area. But when we had, county council had been approached about doing a capital sales tax, and in doing so, one of the things council members that are here had asked us to do, which is not required, is to go out and to the three communities and explain to them what a capital sales tax is and how the process works. And so that's what we're doing. This will be the third meeting we've had. But just start off with, a capital sales tax is a penny sales tax on stuff that you go and buy. Now, it does not go on prepared food, unprepared food that you go buy in a grocery store. All that is governed, and I'll talk about in a few minutes, by how the statute is set up with the state of South Carolina. And it does not go on medicines, prescription medicines or prescriptions that you would get from your doctor to go to the drugstore and buy. But again, it's a penny sales tax. As I mentioned, the meetings that we're doing now are not required, but we wanted to get the word out. So this is what it is. It's an opportunity. I won't take a little bit of time to go through and explain it, but then I'll open it up for questions. But a capital sales tax is set, the process is set up by the state of South Carolina in general statute. And you can go to the general statute and see. It's not something that municipalities can do. It can only be done through the counties. But the counties have to incorporate the municipalities into it. But general statute basically says that the process to do a capital sales tax is once the council, county council decides they want to present it to the public, the community, the citizens, the voting citizens, that they have to set up a resolution to establish a commission, the capital sales tax commission. That commission and the setup of that, formation of that commission is set up by the state and statute, as I mentioned. And it has to be 6 members. 3 of those members come from the counties, and then the other three members come from the municipalities in the county through a population formula. And the way Dillon counties is, 3 comes from the county, 2 come from the city of Dillon, and then the city of Dillon too, then they come up with a 3rd member that either has to come from Lakeview or Latta. So our commission is made up of, from the county, Matthew Ellington, Walt Brown, and Mamie Leggett. And from the city of Dillon selected Kevin Roberts and Glenn Wagner, who are here with us tonight. And then the 3rd member of that group is Michael Bethea. So that's who is on the Capital Sales Tax Commission. Their responsibility is once this commission's formed, the county and municipalities will present projects to them to review and for them to go through and prioritize a list of what's to be funded. Now, again, it goes back, these projects that come up, the money cannot be spent but for certain ways. And it's mainly a bricks and formula type deal. It can be done for buildings, trucks, like fire trucks, and those kind of things. It can't be given out to nonprofit organizations. It can't be used for salaries. It can't be used for operating expenses. It's bricks and mortar type stuff. And that's what it used to be called. Okay, once that commission will receive the projects from the municipalities in the county, they'll go through them. And then once they go through them and list the projects and submit it back to county council, it will be set up in a form of an ordinance to county council. Now that ordinance, according to state law, counties have to have 3 readings of their ordinance. The first reading can be by title only, then the second reading, and then 15 days after the second reading, you have a public hearing in the 3rd reading. Now, the good thing about a capital sales tax is you don't have, and since some of my bosses are in here, you don't have 4 people making a decision for you. That decision is made on the capital sales tax in November on a referendum, and that referendum will state what all is in that capital sales tax, a list of the items, how much each one of them is going to cost, and the citizens get to vote on it. And so that, to me, is fair because the people of the county get to vote on it, not just a few people. The other thing about a capital sales tax is that, well, let me go back. Once that third reading of the ordinance is passed, it has to be submitted to the Elections Commission. I think it's this year. Usually it's August 15th, but I think the 15th may fall on the weekend, so I think it's August 17th. It has to be submitted to the Elections Commission, sent to Columbia so it can be on the ballot in November. And it's at the same time as a general election will be. And capital sales tax votes can only be held on even number of years when there's a general election. And the reason for that is because that's an election where more people show up to vote. So to give more people the opportunity. So in November, that'll be on the ballot. If it passes, sales tax will be started to be collected in 2027, and projects can be started shortly after that, and I'll talk about that process in just a few minutes. But, so that's the process of how this all works. Again, it's a penny sales tax. What I like to say is if you want to do a capital sales tax, have it to do projects that is going to benefit the municipalities and the counties, but at the same time, those projects be projects that are needed. For instance, if you had, and I'm going to give you, just throw one out. Say if you had to put a roof on a county building. You and I both know that at some point that's going to have to be done. If you have to do it without the capital sales tax, it's going to have to be done out of your general fund budget. That means it's going to go on to the taxpayers of the county there. But the thing is, well, I'm not going to put them on the spot. If you're a property owner in the county, you would have to pay for it because it's on your property taxes. Capital sales tax, everybody pays a sales tax. The other part of that is our numbers that we've got projected for this capital sales tax is about $26 million over 8 years. Now, at the end of 8 years, or when all the projects are paid for, that capital sales tax stops. In order to continue it on, you have to have another election. So it's not like we're putting it on, it's going to be there forever. But the other part of that, Department of Revenue is projected about $26 million over that 8 years. But at the same time, it's been estimated by Department of Revenue that 40% of that revenue that's coming in is coming from out of state. Okay, not out of state, out of county. Let me correct that. When I said out of state, I was thinking about what happened this past weekend. I mean, the people from North Carolina was coming into Dillon County to buy fireworks. They were paying sales tax. And they would pay that capital sales tax. So you look right there, say for instance, if you were at your home and you had to put a new roof on your house, and say that roof cost you $10,000, what would you rather happen? You had to pay that $10,000 out of your savings, or that roofer says, well, I'll give you a 40% discount. And that's what we see with the capital sales tax for the county and the municipalities. Again, most of these projects are going to benefit the county and the whole county in some ways. I don't know if the mayor wants to talk about one of their projects, but their project may be wastewater. You know, one of the things we have in this county right now, and Rodney's back here, can tell you, if we wanted to add on a big industry in this county right now that use water and sewer, we couldn't do it because we don't have the capacity for it. And the only way to get that capacity is make sure that we upgrade our infrastructure. We had a meeting last week with the executive director of the South Carolina Ports Authority, and one of the things he stressed in that meeting with the inland port area and how much it's grown and what it's going to do for this region is you've got to have infrastructure in place. So those are some of the things that we looked at. Members of council, anything I missed, hadn't said yet? Y'all can think of?
One of the biggest things that I've seen, just hearing people in general talking, I've seen people saying that, you know, with the capital sales tax, they said, well, why would we do it if we don't have no projects? That's absolutely false. every one of our municipalities, even the county, we all have projects that have already been tapped. We just don't have the money to do it. And the only way we are gonna do it is to raise mills. And with me being a property owner and everybody in here being a property owner, we don't wanna continue to pay extra taxes to fund these projects when we actually can have us, outside counties, outside states, and everybody come in to actually help fund this project. Like Tim said, fireworks in Dillon is a huge thing because of North Carolina. You know, and there's a big chunk of that, you know, that we get every year from the fireworks to help fund these projects. And so again, the projects that are on tap, there's something that's been on there. It's nothing that's been made up in the past couple of weeks to do it, you know. It's everybody's had a project, they just can't fund it, now we're trying to find a way to fund it.
And going back to just, you know, if you, not only would you talk about fireworks, I saw an article from a Fayetteville TV station this weekend that they come down to Dillon to do an interview with people that were coming out of North Carolina to buy fireworks in Dillon. And there was two gentlemen that come from Dillon County, North Carolina, that spent $8,000 for fireworks. That's not unusual. But at the same time, we have what else that runs right through our county? Interstate. Our projections on this capital sales tax that come from the Department of Revenue, it's not something we just made up, at the $26 million. Our neighboring county of Marion, they're getting ready to do one, and they're only generating $19 million. So that shows you right there, most, besides the interstate and the fireworks, they got about the same thing that we have here. But we're going to generate $7 million more dollars. So that shows you a good bit of it is coming from out of the county. Questions?
I got two.
Okay.
What happens if there's money left over after 8 years?
When we put the project together, there'll be projects on there, and I'm just throwing out a number, say 10 projects. There'll probably be a couple more projects on there that'll be alternate projects. And if additional revenue comes in, you can do those alternate projects. Now, if you do the alternate projects and everything's paid off, that sales tax ends, then you have to have another vote to renew it.
But that was the second question.
Okay.
How easy is it to extend it after the 8 years?
Has to go to a vote of the people again.
Go through the same process?
Same process, yes, sir.
Which,
Let me go over here first.
that answered my question.
Okay, right here.
Which projects are going to take precedence one over the other? He said he had a lot of projects that he had already listed on.
That's the
that
responsibility of the Capital Sales Tax Commission. City of Dillon, the town of Lakeview, the town of Loudoun, and the county will present a list of projects to the Capital Sales Tax Commission, those 6 people I mentioned earlier, and they'll formulate the list of where to go, and then our attorney will put it into an ordinance that county council will vote on that ordinance.
Tim, you may want to explain at that point in time the general obligation bond.
Okay. I mentioned earlier about how once the money started collecting, it used to be, and I think years ago, they may have done one here before, but the way it's set up now, say if you got, let's go back to those 10 projects again, and it's an 8-year capital sales tax. You don't have to wait 8 years out to do the projects, because what we'll do is called a general obligation bond. We'll go out and borrow the money to do those projects, and then as the revenue comes in, we'll pay that bond off. So in all fairness, you could have 10 projects on there, and all 10 of them could get started at the same time and be finished up in a year. But the sales tax will continue to run through to pay that bond off. Is that what you're talking about?
And that bond money can only be used?
For those projects. Yeah. You can't add things onto it once it's voted on by the citizens. And now the only thing could happen, say if a project couldn't ever be done, it would come off, but then at the end, when your collections all come in, you'd have to still go back out for a vote.
Well, my question is, what is the source of the criteria that will be used by the commission to prioritize the projects that are submitted?
They have to make sure that they meet the criteria of being bricks and mortar type projects. And then they'll look and see the needs, what the needs are, and how those are approached. Because once they get the list, for instance, if it's the county's projects, somebody's got to go to the county, to that commission, and present those projects to the county. The city will present their projects to the commission. Same way.
If there is no formula to set it to be even between the county and the other three entities, you have 4 entities involved in this. So each entity is putting in bids.
Just the projects.
Okay, so the actual matter, that matters here is when we actually do what goes on the referendum. Because it's gonna show the projects that were chosen by that commission. Now, when it shows that and it gives the breakdown, it's gonna say what the county's gonna receive, what's gonna be, projects are gonna be for the city of Dillon, the city of Latta, and.
That won't break it out that way, it'll just be listed of projects.
It'll just be a list of projects.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So it won't do.
And give you an example. I mean, there may be a project on there, we'll use the city as water and sewer. That project's not not benefit the city, it's benefit the whole county. Because if you got wastewater that's available out near the interstate where you got an industry coming in, it may not be in the city limits, but it's gonna bring in an industry that's gonna pay taxes and hire people.
Now, over in the city of Atlanta, now it's different for us over there because see, here in Dillon, they already have a lot of capacities with the businesses that they're able to run and hold here. You know what I mean? We don't have that going on over there, so we don't have that fluctuation. So that's not gonna be it wouldn't be a thing that we would, you know, most of us would be interested in just that. You know what I mean? We would be interested in other things. As, you know, we was speaking over in Atlanta. I read on that, and police vehicles and other related equipment is things that we would be needing, so. Yeah, that too. Seriously, I'm just trying to understand, when the list is done, how is that gonna be prioritized?
Like I said, if it's let's use a police car, town allowed a police car, it won't just list police car, be town allowed a police car. Okay, so it'll have some connection to the town and municipality.
And when will that meeting go down, that the county council vote on to go to the?
We'll have, probably next week, we'll be having a first reading, but that's by title only.
Okay.
Then the second meeting will be, if everything goes to plans and our timing's right, will be our regular council meeting. That will be our second reading with the list of projects on it, if the commission can get those finished by then. And then the third meeting will probably be a special meeting that'll have to be called before August the 15th.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
sorry.
say yes. I know you said that probably wouldn't interest people in Atlanta, but there's probably a bunch of people in Atlanta that work at these industries.
No, I agree. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
And also bring more stuff, but just say like if we done a county fire department for Atlanta. That wouldn't be a Atlanta project, it'd be a county project,
Well,
but Atlanta don't have a fire
The
department.
one thing that interests us with it, and it's a good thing about it, and I said it, and I'll say it again, which is it can cover that matching part to the grants. We have grants over there that we're gonna need money to match, you know what I'm saying? So
And that's a good point you haven't mentioned, is that, for instance, if there was a project that it was gonna cost $5 million to do, or you could get $5 million out of capital sales tax, but there's other monies out there, like through the state or federal government, that can match, that you can get also grant money. This money can be used as your match to those grants. So, and I'll come back to you.
Just a comment, I mean, I think it's like old saying, it takes money to make money. I reckon, in your opinion, what would it, I reckon the percentage or odd to take this penny we invest right now and turn it into a dime or a quarter for our grandkids and our kids down the road. I mean, in your opinion,
Well, I think that it's a great opportunity, because just like we mentioned, if you got the infrastructure in place, you're gonna have business come to you. You're gonna have industry come to you, offering better jobs, better paying jobs, more jobs. And when more people come in, then that brings, people, I hear it all the time, I wish we had a Cracker Barrel. Okay? Is a Cracker Barrel gonna come here if we don't have the people to make it, or a movie theater, any of this? So growth is the thing that we gotta look for, and this helps with that growth.
Let me make sure I understand the process. The commission is gonna present the projects to county council, and they're gonna vote on all the projects as a package.
They'll vote on the projects to meet up to that $26 million.
Well, they will vote on them individually or
No.
as a
The
package?
the county council will come up with their list of projects, but the commission will finalize the list that goes on the ballot. Okay. Question, okay.
Who's gonna be responsible for prioritizing the list?
That comes from the commission.
Okay,
Comes
that's
from
what I
the
thought.
commission.
Do we have, and this may be too early, do we have any idea of what the first priority is?
No.
Well, see, now, I'm not trying to call a problem, see, that's disappointing to me.
Well,
Because-
and I understand what you're saying, but the way the process is set up in statute is, these projects will go to the commission. Now, all county council is voting on again is to let that list of projects go to a ballot in November. So they're not voting that, you know, that I may be on county council, I may not be totally supportive of it, but I want to let the people decide if it's good or not, and that's what they do. But the commission is there, is set up, that commission accepts the projects. Some of these projects are still being worked on because now that we know we've got a capital sales tax, just like the projects the county's got, I'm having to try to work up cost and those kind of things to be sure we can fit in. So, there's still a lot of work behind the scenes going on.
Yeah, I'll say this, I'm sorry.
No, you wait.
I'll say this, I mean, I guess everybody would probably have a different opinion of what's most important. But that's why we got a committee of 6 people that can combine their thoughts and think. I mean, probably what I think, somebody else might not think is most priority. But my opinion, infrastructure is really big. If you don't have infrastructure, you're not gonna get anything.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, just like when I first got on council, we put that gas line out there. We paid $3 million to put a gas line out there. That's why Wyman Gordon came. We didn't do that, they'd have never came. If Oak Grove hadn't got sewer 20 years ago, or whatever,
Yeah.
it'd be still a cost money. And it's really growing out there. That's just my opinion.
No, I have the same
And I told somebody the other night,
I have the same opinion.
I had somebody tell me I told someone the other night, my grandfather grew up in Oak Grove out there. And I said, if he was alive today, and I told him there was motels and gas stations all out there, he'd ask me what I've been smoking.
A question.
Yes, ma'am.
What went into determining who you wanted on the commission? Well, I'm trying to help make sure that we're as transparent as we need to be.
It was-
And make sure that that commission that you have appointed or what was appointed are people that are truly representative of the people and not representative of carrying out anybody's particular ideology or ideals or whatever and just carrying it forward.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what I hear when I ask somebody, you know, we got a penny tax. Well, didn't we just have the penny tax before? What got done? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So people are asking questions, and so you want their vote to go forward. And that's why I'm here tonight
Yeah.
for
And the
me to
councils of
answer
each,
their
the
questions.
councils, Dillon City Council and the County Council select their members, and I feel comfortable saying the members that were selected on that are non-political. They could not be elected officials. So I really feel like that we've got a committee that is made up of people that care about the county overall. When I say that, I mean the municipalities also, that are there to look at this thing fairly and make good decisions.
The councils actually are the one pick their members.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is very similar to hers. I wanted to know who actually selected the Capital Sales Tax Commission and what criteria was used to pick those individuals. I heard you mention a couple of them, so I don't have a list of anything, of any of, to the total, but I just wondered, who actually did the selecting, and did everybody use the same criteria to select those individuals? Just how was it done?
County Council selected, okay? And they
voted as a whole
They
on
voted
these
as a whole.
individuals? Okay.
And we tried to, we didn't try to get everybody from, say, over here in this neighborhood or everything. Basically,
Yeah.
when we pick, we tried to pick people that's all over, like with Matthew. Matthew's actually from Lakeland, but Matthew's actually on Commerce. So he has a lot of knowledge of what needs to be done So, you know, most, the people we tried to pick, we picked 3 of them, and then the city picked, 2, and then them 2 got together and they picked the 3rd.
But what was the criteria? I mean,
I would
okay,
not
this
say-
person needs,
There is no specific criteria.
there is no criteria for the people who are on.
Not by the way the statute's set up, but what the council did was try to find the city and the county as people that are knowledgeable, that have been here for a while, and that understood the needs of the county.
So the statute, which is the law,
Mhm.
does not have any kind of criteria for these people who are making decisions on spending all this money on these projects. The
And
law,
and they're-
it's hard, it's a blank check.
Yeah, let's go back. They're not making a decision. They're just presenting theirs for the citizens to make the decision.
I'll say this, one that we mainly look at is the fire from SC Works.
Oh, I need to know names, I was just.
What-
What else, Walt Brown is a
I
working
know Walt,
businessman, and Matthew Evans with the Department of Commerce.
No, I
So we
mean-
tried to pick people that we thought would be
Yeah, I just
good for the
wonder,
project.
maybe it's the teacher in you.
Yeah, and we got somebody from
The cri-
education
The
too.
criteria, well, I know that was
Yeah.
good, I'm not worried about that. I guess it's the, you know, the teacher in me that,
Yeah.
just wanna make sure.
But there is no set criteria, but again, a county could
That just
pick,
doesn't sound good.
a county could pick
No
a committee
criteria.
that has no idea. But I don't think that's what happened here.
Okay.
And I really believe if we would have set a criteria, we'd have more of a stack there.
But the committee we got.
I think if they come in and said, okay, this is a criteria, right? And they said, this is what has to be done, then there'd only been a certain group of people we could have picked. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if they would come in and said, okay, you need 1 educator, you need 1 businessman.
No, I didn't think it would have to be like that.
Yeah, and I understand where you're at, but I'm kind of glad they did not set a criteria. Because I really think you would have had just a smaller, especially in Dillon, I think we'd have had a smaller pool of where we could have picked people at. And again, we only pick the people to make the list. Us as voters are actually going to pick the people, and if we don't like them,
Oh, so we pick the people, we pick the commission.
No.
we pick them, you're going to vote.
No, to vote on the project.
You're going to vote on the
Oh,
project.
project,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, just for the sake of conversation, you ran off about 3 different things when you said persons that were selected to comprise the commission were folks in general who had some working idea of what's been happening in Dillon. They've had some experience in the past with certain projects and other things that have benefited the cities or the county. So though they aren't in specifically listed criteria, there was criteria, and you basically stated it. Now, moving on to the other area of criteria, that is how you're going to prioritize the projects that are submitted to the committee, the commission. And just generally speaking, the whole concept of the capital sales tax, that's okay with me. If we got 35 projects collectively that are submitted to the commission, there has to be some criteria that the commission uses to whittle it down to whatever number that will add up to a total budget of around $26 million. And for me, I just like to know generally what is that criteria that will be used by the commission to ultimately prioritize that list of projects.
They're gonna look at what the statute says first. Okay, and that's, you know, what projects can be put in there, what they can be used for, and that's in the statute, and I don't have that with me. But then they're also gonna look at benefits, how it's gonna be benefit the whole community, the whole county. And as each one of us submits a project, we've got to have some justification to it. And we have to put in an application, a form that we submit to the commission. It ain't just we send over, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to do that. There's a form our county council had presented about projects that they wanted to see on the capital sales tax. They submitted a form to me to accumulate and put together and start working on numbers. And they're going to look at their numbers, they're going to look at those things that are required in the statute. For instance, if it's a project that is not in statute, then it gets taken out. So they've got to look at that part of it, but other than that, they're gonna follow the state statute to make a decision.
And that response, if I can say this, that response is a clarifying response to the question about criteria, whether it has to do with who was selected to be a part of the commission, or what will be the criteria utilized by the commission to ultimately whittle that list of projects down to accommodate the monies that are planned to be raised. And as long as that is communicated by the ambassadors for this project, who would be you, who would be members of the council, and others who will be talking with everyday people in the language that everyday people understand, such that they can really understand what they're voting for when this referendum is put on the ballot.
And the other thing that I told council we talked about is once the ordinance is established, we've got from August to November, is to do maybe these same type of meetings again to go out and talk about the projects and have those agents, whether it's in the county or the city or whatever, explain why we got these projects on the ballot.
Mr. Hurd, what's gonna be your criteria whether you're gonna vote for it or not?
Mine, okay, generally speaking, I've been a resident of this county almost 30 years. And I came from places that were a little bit more progressive than has been what I've seen here in Dillon County. But that means for me, Dillon County has the opportunity for a lot of growth, provided there's leadership that buys into that, and in the process of perpetuating that growth, they kind of pull some of everybody in, speaking the kind of language that people understand, and doing it with a sense of transparency. Because you can put in all the infrastructure you want to. And I'm going to go to what Robbie brought up in the meeting in Latter. He mentioned something about schools. And I'm just talking from my own personal experience. I spent 5 years as a teacher assistant working in one of the local elementary schools here in District 4. And I was appalled to see that kids in the 4th grade on these standardized tests were scoring 2 grades below their grade level. Now, yeah, industry is looking for infrastructure, but industry is also looking for lifestyles. The quality of life that employees that they bring here will have, as well as helping to improve the quality of life of people here. And I have no problem with brick and mortar projects. But I think also, and we mentioned this is not a project that deals with the things that we're talking about, which is human capital development. And we understand that. But if you can work those two in tandem.
School has a penny tax on that.
Well, I understand that. This ain't the place for that discussion. Let's speak.
I was just asking your criteria on the vote. I didn't know.
Well, I'm looking at a holistic approach.
And I would hope the 6 people that's on the commission that actually comes together and do it, would take all this in account. Would take everything in account that they hear, would take everything in account that they see. For the main reason is, us 7 county councilmen, we've got to even vote to put it on the ballot, period. And if I see on there that the commission has come back with a bunch of projects that I feel, in my opinion, that's not gonna help the county, that's not gonna help the people, and it's gonna cost us more money after the projects are done, I'm voting no. You know, just general purpose of it, you know, because I don't want us as citizens, I don't want Dillon County to succumb to stuff that after the 8th year that we paid for it, that we got to continue to pay for it. If we have to continue to pay for it, my vote would be no. You know, I want to be able to, like you said, I want the people of Dillon County to be prosperous, to have a good education. And what you're talking about education, I see it too. I see it all the time. I've done Little League ball for 20-some years, and I see it also. And one of the biggest things I always seen was we always blamed the teachers, and we never blamed at home. You know, because I can have the best education in the world. If I don't get the parents to help us at home, we're not going anywhere. You know, and the states, again, we need to elect them people in these states that all they want to do is standardize testing instead of teaching these kids how to be adults as we come through life.
Let's get it
sort of
back.
close if we don't have any more questions. It's safe just to,
I got one.
okay.
Go ahead.
I would hope that the people in the county, when this capital sales tax comes out, there's gonna be things on there that you may not like. But please keep an overall, don't have tunnel vision. Look at the overall picture. That there's stuff in there that is gonna benefit us, and there may be something that you don't quite agree with. I know they probably would for me, but at the same time, I see what it can do overall.
Cal, cause you just mentioned, infrastructure is hopefully it's gonna be at the top of the list, brick and mortar or whatever. But let's say, for example, if we are trying to court somebody else, like a Wyman Gordon and Wyman Gorman, that want certain type of people to work for them, they're gonna look for the infrastructure, but they're gonna want the people. We're gonna be asking them to hire our people, and our people aren't prepared. I think that's the kind of point.
And I understand that, but
So,
again, there's
I know
other ways.
this is not the place for that discussion, I got that. But the people, like you said, you gotta get the information to the people, what this is all about. And I know this is the opportunity for them to be here and they're not here.
And that's why I'm glad, like Betsy and Vicky are here videotaping this, so people can see it online.
Yeah,
And get factual information, because y'all know on social media, you can say a few, part of it and not get the whole story. And
Right.
that's what we hope we can do here and later on too, so, but again, I'm turning, Mayor. No, Kevin, Mayor.
So around the counties in South Carolina, is it correct about 75% have a penny sales tax?
I would hate to say the number, but I know probably at least half of them.
But when we go to Myrtle Beach to dinner, or Florence shopping, or to Walmart in Marion, we're paying a penny for them.
Good example. If you go to Florence County, how many of you go shopping and go to eat in Florence County? Probably all of you. I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I know, I've seen some of you over there, so, you pay that penny over there. If you
And
go
what
to
do
the
they, and
beach,
what do a lot of them call that? A penny to prosperity?
penny for prosperity or penny for progress. That's why you don't hear them say capital sales tax, they have a term for it. But, I mean, you're paying it somewhere else. Probably every one of you in here in the last week or so have paid a penny in another county. And, again, you go back and think of it, if you live in Roland, there ain't nowhere to eat over there, so you come over here. You come over here to go to Walmart. And from other places, from Blenheim or Clio or outside the county. So, again, we're depending on some other people's money besides just our own money.
Tim, you can talk about this. When you look around at the state and federal level, the grants that we used to get in the last 10 years, they're not out there for infrastructure anymore. So we've got to do this on our own. We've got to raise this money if we want to do anything with
I think you can sort of address it in just a minute when I bring it up. But the cost of operations for water, wastewater, gas, roads, there's not money out there at the state level anymore. You used to get some money. If you got $1 million from the state, you could do a lot. Perfect example, I think the city of Dillon got $10 million a couple of years ago to do some grant work, and the bids come in at $17 million, right, Glenn? So you see how much stuff has gone up and the cost of operating. Now, if you can't find that $10 million to do that infrastructure work, where's it gonna come from? You're gonna have to raise the cost of water and sewer. You're gonna have to put a millage on. You're gonna have to go out and borrow money, whether it's USDA or where, and you're gonna have to pay for it. I mean, so the grant monies are not out there. I started out when I graduated from college working with the Council of Governments, and that, I ain't gonna tell you how long ago because it will tell you how old I am. But there was a lot of money. There was a lot of federal dollars, a lot of state dollars we could get in and do projects, roads and all these things. That money's not there anymore. I mean, just like a CD community development block grant, CDBG grants. We used to get them to do housing, build houses. You can't even use it for housing now. Up until this past year, we could use CDBG grants to buy a fire truck. They cut that out now. Just to buy a fire truck, a small fire truck, is over $500,000, between $500,000 and $600,000 now. So,
Just looking at the Department of Revenue's website, Marion, Florence, Williamsburg, Georgetown, Horry, Lee, Darlington, Chesterfield, Sumter, we're surrounded. Other than Marlboro, Dillon and Marlboro are the only ones in this part of the
and, you know, so if I go, just like the fire trucks and other things, if we buy an ambulance, you're talking $300,000 or $400,000 to buy a new ambulance. And then you gotta stock it, put the equipment on it that's required by the feds and the state. I mean, so to be able to operate a local government, you depend on property tax. Capital sales tax is a way of getting things done that you don't depend just on the property tax.
I say this, Tim, and it's just my opinion, I think the penny sales tax is for needs and not wants. It's, and I think every municipality in our county has needs.
Oh, yeah.
And it should be to help each one of them prosper. I don't wanna do something that's gonna get me a vote. I wanna do something that's gonna help each municipality, each county prosper.
And I will tell you, we see it all across the state. Our local municipalities are struggling, small municipalities. But if you get a project in Lakeview, that's gonna bring in people to come to Lakeview and spend money there or do something there, that helps their tax base. And it don't fall just on the citizens.
A good technical point too about the GO bond. You know, in the past, I know in Marion, I was with Tim when we did it over there, and we had to do it as money came in, doing the GO bond. Now starting projects immediately, that prevents you from the escalated cost of construction and everything else.
While Rodney and I was in Marion County, before I come back over here to home, when I come home, we done 2 capital sales tax. This goes back to your question a while ago. They were for 7 years at the time. Neither one of them lasted 7 years because the revenues come in and would be able to be paid off early on. And so when we contacted the Department of Revenue and asked them for numbers, we asked them for conservative numbers because we wanted it to come in. We wanted more money to come in than we were estimating. And so we feel like that's what we've done. And but again, every time I've been involved in the capital sales tax, it was projects that would benefit the citizens, but at the same time, it was projects that were going to have to be done. And so we hope to look at doing the same thing here.
And one thing. It's just the penny sales tax, you know, that's the way it's always presented. This will be the 4th time. This will be, since I was a kid, it was 5%. This will be a 80% increase in sales tax. Why can't we just present it as what kind of increase it is? A 12.5% increase in sales tax. But you don't have to make it sound terrible in the referendum. You can give an example. If you go to Ace Hardware and buy a push mower for $300, you're going to pay an extra $3 instead of just the
And the bad thing about it is that
$27.
the way it's set up with the state is the capital sales tax is just really a bad term.
Yeah, I just don't like the penny tax. A lot of people aren't going to really know what they're voting for. It's just a penny.
You go out there and buy that 60-inch
We can be
TV, you'll
groundbreaking
pay
here. We
a
can
couple
say,
more
hey, we're
dollars
going
to
to
get
raise
that
the sales tax
60-inch
by
TV.
12.5%. What do you think? This is what it'll cost you if you go buy it at Home.
I think we can get it passed here. It do have some ramifications that we do good for the county. Bids around the 10 of the county's taxes. But I'm with what they were saying down there. You gotta be transparent all the way through it. Come back once it's put on the referendum, come back and explain, like you were saying.
And that's what
Why
that's
those
what, yeah, that's what we've done here,
go through
is trying to be
and
transparent by
I think
having these
being that
meetings.
way and opening it up, I think you may be able to explain to them, because then you'll have projects, you'll have stuff tangible to show and let me know what we're gonna be actually working on. You know what I mean? And then you can try and get it done then.
Like the administrator said, this is the most transparent tax because it will have each project listed and a price tag. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you know, I hope that everybody looks at these projects as a whole, and it's not just what Little Rock can get, or what Fort can get, or Lakeview or Latta can get. We're in Dillon County. We're in this county together, and what benefits Lakeview benefits Dillon, benefits Latta, benefits Little Rock, Fort, everywhere else. So I hope people look at that. And you know, we're gonna benefit from this, our generation, but this is for our kids.
Yes.
This is for our
Oh, yes.
kids, because like you said, when we attract industry in, we attract restaurants in, we attract housing developments, that, you know, all of us want our kids to be able to come over and ride their bicycles to our house and get good jobs, and, you know, that's what it's all about, so this is for the future.
I appreciate everybody coming in. If y'all ever have any questions, feel free to give me a call. And I'll try to answer them for you. If I can't answer them, I'll let Danny answer.
I'll say one more thing too, you know, a lot of us pay property tax and stuff like that. There are a lot of people that don't. So now everybody can contribute a little bit with a sales tax. I mean, the ones sitting around not doing nothing, not working, they can help too. Because they're gonna go buy something, I promise, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it kinda, it's pretty much comparative tax.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.